growing up as a kid, you could always tell who the good guys and the bad guys were in the cartoons and the comic books and the movies. You could usually tell by the way they looked or the outfits they were wearing who the good guys were. As I got older, it got harder to tell, not only in the movies and the comic books, but in real life. But there's one common thread that has remained true all along as a child and even in today. The difference between the good guys and the bad guys, the ways you can tell who the heroes really are. The heroes are the ones that don't just care about themselves. They look out for others as well. We're on our way to go see Mike Cason. Mike Cason, one of our members, manages the Home Depot in Shenandoah. He's worked there for a couple years. His store was open the day of the hurricane, the day after the hurricane, the day after that. His employees came to work not because they were scheduled to work, but because they wanted to help. They wanted to help the people in the community. They also wanted to help Mike because of the kind of example that he models. Some call him a hero. Some of the people that were helped consider it heroic that they provided for their needs. We want to find out for ourselves what it was really like and why they were so interested in helping others and not just themselves. Mike, one of the things that we wanted to talk to you about was what it was like here after Hurricane Ike, and your store was able to be open for a while, and you of course had a lot of products that people needed and wanted, and I know it's kind of crazy, but for those of us that weren't around here, could you describe just kind of what it was like for you working at a store during that time?
Well, the day of the hurricane, we went ahead and came in here. Me and Candace and a few other handful of associates actually opened the day of the hurricane. And the community came out and started asking what they needed, or when we were going to be open. We ended up opening up about 8 o'clock at night once we got the store open, and was open till about midnight. And then during the next 2 weeks, me and my management staff was working approximately 18 hours a day.
Only 18?
18. So, we were averaging about 4 hours sleep, so we were running back and forth and making sure that the community was taken care of. Most of everybody in the community was very polite. I mean, there was a lot of people. At one time, there was 1,200 people that was wanting generators that we ran out.
You don't carry 1,200 generators on stock, I assume?
No, that we don't. That we don't. So there was actually 1,200 people, and it actually looped all the way through contractors, all the way back past here. And we actually had to have security. The police department, Shenandoah Police Department, actually was more than accessible for us and really took care of us.
I mean, there was so many people that you could just, the look in their eyes when they had their little kids with them and they'd been standing there for 4 hours and they walked out with a generator and they walked out with gas cans, and the relief that you knew they were going home to put some light on for their kids. Oh, it was the best part of the whole day.
One of the things that Mike told me when we first met him was that we pray for God to bring people into our community that we believe need to be helped, but also people who would help us help other people. And do you remember what you told me when I said that?
No, I don't.
You told me we're both.
Yes, we are.
We are
both.
Yeah.
And I think you've really proven that in the way that you, in a tough situation, tried to exemplify that whole spirit, that there were times where you received help from others, and this was your time to shine and provide as much help as you could for people who were in need. And people were watching and they saw it and were encouraged and inspired by that effort, and I wanted you to know that.
I really appreciate that, and I'm glad that we were here for the community.
Okay, now that Mike's not here, tell us what it was really like. No, tell us some of the things that Mike did. I mean, you have the manager out here helping the customers, but you're the employees. Tell us some of the things that he did to help the employees while you were going through that time.
During the hurricane and during the afterwards and the cleanup, he actually walked around with a flat cart full of food, and just would stop each one of us associates and say to us, do you need anything? And I couldn't believe it. Like, he cared enough about me and enough about my family that he's going to go the extra mile to help me get gas. Of course I'm going to come to work. Of course I'm going to work for him.
He's great. I wouldn't work for anyone else. It's like she said, he came to me and he said, does your family need anything? If they do, let me know. And that just touched me so much, because I've worked for other managers. They never said things like that. I've been through other hurricanes. They didn't say things like that. And Mike had us with carts full of water and bananas going all the way around the building, feeding these customers who were waiting. But they were waiting for generators. Some of them had been here all night. But yet they were happy because we were being nice, and it was all because of Mike. Mike did something for me, I did something for somebody else, because he's such a good person. I mean, if Mike tells you something, you can count on it.
Now, we had some people that were here right after the hurricane who had some desperate needs, hoping to get some equipment for their families. And as we know, not everybody got the help they needed, but many of them were helped. And even the ones that didn't get help were affected by how the staff treated them while they were here. Some people have even called Mike a hero, and he probably shies away from that. But what would you say?
I say Mike's a hero, but Mike would say, "Oh no, I'm not. No, I'm not." But he is a hero. He had the customers, he had the associates, he had everybody in a more calm, relaxed mood because of his attitude, because of his heart. It's his heart. That's where it comes from.